Okay, welcome to this ATG webinar about electrical design project setup. My name is Nathan Hay. I've been with ATG for a few months now, but I've been in the industry for 13 years. The last 3 to 6 as a dedicated electrical designer using Revit only. And wanted to put together this webinar to talk to you about just how to get started, especially if you're new to Revit and you open it up out of the box. You will see, move my mic up, excuse me. You will see that it doesn't come with much. Autodesk wrote some amazing software and then they just sold it. It's like a tool. You know, if they sell you a table saw, they don't sell you all the how-to books at the same time. So that's where ATG comes in, is we are a value-added reseller. Yeah, we'll sell you the software, but we also do lots of training, mentoring. We even will do a Revit project for you if you have to do that and you got into a bind and turns out you signed on to provide a 3D model of something and you didn't notice until the last minute. Anyway, this one is called Electrical Design Project Setup. Prepare the Revit out-of-the-box project template for electrical design. Out-of-the-box OTB. So we're going to be talking about using Revit out-of-the-box for electrical design, how to link in background, set up views. We'll eventually get to creating sheets and issuing PDFs. We'll have to do that in another webinar. In this one, we're going to look at scope boxes, levels, work planes, title blocks. Well, we actually won't get to title blocks and families in this one, but this will be should be a 3-series webinar. But today is just, I'm opening Revit and I've got to get the thing ready so I can do my job. Okay, so let's jump in. I'm going to share my other screen, new share. We are going to share Revit 2020. That's what I'm going to be working in today. So let me turn off my annotate here. Need my mouse. So, you know, our goal with Revit is the same as our goal with AutoCAD, or back when we did hand drafting, if any of you are old enough to have done that. We're just trying to get our plans out, right? That's what we were paid for. Sometimes we're paid to do a 3D model. They'll ask for it, but honestly, what are they going to do with it with electrical? I mean, they could render our outlet locations, but they can do that themselves if they're an architect who uses Revit. But when you start with a default session of Revit with out-of-the-box components, you don't know where to go. So that's what I'm going to be racing through today. I actually sat down and I did this a few times, the process I'm doing, and it took me 20 minutes. So if I go through it today and maybe tell you some of the whys as we go through, it'll take the full hour. So we're recording this. You'll be able to come back and watch this. I would recommend you come back and you don't bother taking notes right now. I mean, you can, but just concentrate on what I'm doing to get a feel for it. And you can come back and watch the webinar at 2x speed, where I'm not thinking when I'm talking, I'm just talking at 2x speed. So you can come back for that. You know, when you open Revit like this, what you need as an electrical designer is not already there. There's just no readily available documentation showing us what we need. And frankly, we don't have time to figure it out before the deadline. Some companies are lucky enough to have a BIM manager who's got this figured out, and then they try to train you, but they're not an electrical designer. Just all kinds of messes. So I'm going to start going through this, and let's do this. So we're going to create a new project. I'm in Revit 2020. Look in here, we don't have an electrical template. Let's go find it. Browse. Oh, look, there it is, hidden. Okay, open. Okay. All right, so if you open Revit default, this project browser will be down here at the bottom. That's just confusion. Normally use 2 screens when I'm doing work. So I'm going to move the project browser off to the right, and I've got this properties palette here on the left. Okay, and first thing I'm going to do right here is go ahead and just save it. I open it up and I'm going to save as a project, and I'm going to go to I'm just going to call it E20, electrical, Revit version 20, commercial building. That's just the project. We go with the 20 here because Revit is version specific. You can't, it's not backwards compatible. And if you try to open it in a newer version of Revit, it'll upgrade it. And if you overwrite it, you're gonna have to go back to your server and reload. So overriding what I did earlier, E20 commercial building. There, my file is saved. I've centered it here. All right, something else we've got to do is link in our shared parameters. Now, this is something that we at ATG support CTC software, CTC. You can go to our website and you can get this shared parameters file already. So I'm going to actually go to shared parameters, and when we release this webinar as a white paper, you'll be able to get this file with it. So master shared parameters, it's just a text file with almost like spreadsheet entries that are shareable between information. But I got to do that on this one just to make sure it's right. So there we go. Your company should have one, and it should just be shared among the whole company. At ATG, we use the CTC's shared parameters file. So moving on from that, I'm going to link the architectural Revit background. Good place to start, right? So insert, link Revit. Now, they've already sent me one. I'm pretending, right? So here it is, Architect 20 commercial building. They sent it to me. I make sure that I'm using this. They give you lots of options. You always want internal origin to internal origin unless the architect has told you otherwise. And you just click open and it'll plunk it. There it is. Not bad, right? In order to use it, we need to do a couple of things. We click on it once and we go to edit type and we turn on this option for room bounding right here. Need to turn on room bounding right here. And that lets us add our own room names to it. I'm also going to pin it in place, which is like in AutoCAD, it's the same as locking a layer basically. So I can't accidentally click and drag it somewhere else. It's just frozen right there. Okay. I'm actually going to jump over the power plan. There we go. And do that. I'm going to close this one lighting. Okay. If you see me turn my head, it's because I'm looking at my documentation, my notes, which will be available as a white paper here shortly on our website. Okay, so we've got it linked in, I've got it pinned, I've got it pasted. One other thing you want to do is you want to, while you're thinking about it as part of the setup, is transfer in the project standards. So I'm picking the architect's model. I don't want any information out of their model right now, except for project info, which is like the job name and address, and project parameters. And that's the way this information is displayed. We won't even use it during this webinar, but it's a good step to do it right at the front so you don't forget. And it says, you want me to overwrite your energy settings and project information? Sure, I'll overwrite it. Good, okay. Just one of the steps in the process. Now, in order to use their model for what we need it to, we have to match their levels. These over here are assigned to a level in the 3D model. First thing I want to do is get this this little thing out of the way. These are elevation views. So I'm just pulling it back out of the model. So we're going to open up this one that's looking at this side of the wall. I'll just double click on the triangle. So now we're looking at that front of the wall of the building. You can see their windows and doors and all these levels. So we zoom in over here and we see our level 1, and I can't really touch their other levels. Here's our level 2. And you know, I'm going to turn off that red dot. That's really annoying actually. I'll use this circle thing. So our level 2 needs to match their level 2. So I'm just going to click and drag it up. Okay. Now, we don't have a roof. I can't create a roof plan over here because I don't have my own level to assign my plan to. So we're going to go through, again, don't bother taking notes. I'm going to go a little too fast, but we do something called, in the Collaborate, we do something called Copy Monitor. You'll hear the BIM nerds in your company talk about that. You'll hear it in a lot of places. It basically just means we're gonna duplicate this information in our model for our use, and we're gonna monitor it so that Revit will give us a warning in case, suppose we get a new model from the architect and we reload it and they've actually lowered the roof a foot for some reason, we would get a warning that says this level changed. You should probably go adjust your level to match their level. So that's the steps we're doing right here. So collaborate, copy, monitor. I'm going to select their link, so their architect's model to copy from. Before I actually copy this roof level, I'm going to click my options, and so the head type, they're talking about this little picture here. I want to set mine so it matches theirs, 1/4 inch head, and then reuse matching levels. Reuse if elements match exactly. Just, you know, a lot of these things, I don't even know why they're picked, but Revit makes you do it. And that if you want to do it right, you got to set it right. So I'm clicking OK. And then up here, I'm clicking copy, and I'm just going to copy the roof level. So it just pulled it in. It just gives me a little warning that something renamed itself. No big deal. While I'm looking at it, it's done. It copied. So I can select mine just like this. So I'm going to click the big finish button here, and see this circle right here. I'm going to click and drag that so that my level lines up with my other levels. So this was the new level we just made, and here's theirs. We're electrical. We don't need any of this underground stuff. Plumbing might want to make a level for that, but when they do their underfloor plans, you can usually just draw it below level 1 and you're fine. So, all right, one thing I'm going to do here is pin these in place so I don't mess with them anymore. It's this little button here. Okay. Now, something that I like to do is, you don't see ceiling levels in here, right? These are just floors. If you're going to walk on level 1, walk, you're there. There's level 2. If you're on the roof, you're going to walk right there. But where do the lighting fixtures get placed? Well, if you're lucky, at the beginning of a job, the architect has already put ceilings in. A lot of times they haven't, or they're just completely wrong. They got the end turn to put in 2x4 grids everywhere when the hallway doesn't even get a grid, right? It's just open. So let's draw ourselves our own ceiling here. So systems, it's called a reference plane. And I'm just going to click, and this will be my ceiling for my first floor. So I'm just drawing that green line. I'm going to go ahead and call it level 1 ceiling work plane. And it's what we'll stick our lighting fixtures to. If we can stick our lighting fixtures to this, then whenever the architect actually brings in a ceiling, it doesn't mess us up. We can just drag this to the right height of the ceiling. So I'm going to pull it up to the 13, and then I'm going to use the move command to bring it down a foot. So it's exactly at 12 feet. See that right there, 12 feet. I'm going to go ahead and click it. I'm going to copy it. Let's see. So there's 2 copies. You got the copy to clipboard, and then there's like copy like in AutoCAD. So I'm going to click that one. I'm going to copy it from this level up to this, and see how it renamed it 2. This is going to be my level 2 ceiling, and it's 12 feet above level 2 as well, just because of the way I copied it up. So now we have these 2 ceilings that we can use if we need them. I'm going to pin them in place. And whenever we get to our lighting design, those will be really helpful. Okay. So that's copying the levels. In a few steps, I will create the roof plan over here that we can use. But before we get to that, you can see the grid lines here showing up in this elevation view. Let's hop back over. A lot of times we want our grid lines to appear a little different than the architects, or we want to turn them off, but it's good to just go ahead and copy them so that we can adjust them the way we want them to. So we're going to use that same copy monitor tool that's up here. We're going to select the link. I'm going to pick the architect's model, and then up here, I'm going to click options again. That was that one, but I'm going to go to grids this time. these match, 1/4 inch bubble. I do want to change this to reuse if they match exactly. And that's all I need to do right here. So, okay. Now I want to actually copy them. And I want to copy more than one. And then to copy, I don't just start clicking. If I click one and then click the next, it unselects that one. So click one, hold down the control key on your mouse so you can click multiples. And then just, we're clicking all of them individually here. So I've got all 8 selected. Then you got to click the little finish button. There's a big finish button, but you need to click the little finish button. It tells me it's renaming something down here. You don't have to worry about that at the moment. We're actually still in the command. So I got to go back and I got to click the other finish button, the big one. Again, don't worry about taking notes on that. It'll be in the white paper when that gets released. Or you can come back and watch this and go through those steps I just did. Okay. After that, in my setup process, now let me say a minute here. When you set it up, your company may already have a way. Hopefully they have a process of this is step 1, step 2, step 3, and it works. It works for you. This was me. So I worked at a few engineering firms. The last 2, they already had instructions on how to set up your Revit model, but they were a few years down the line. They've been using Revit for a while, and they had families and they had templates, and they were ready. But this is out of the box. You got nothing from anybody. It's just you and Revit, and you're trying to learn it on your own or something. So this is the process that you're watching me do. Is nobody's done anything for me. There's nothing to go from. This is what Autodesk sold me. I just paid my monthly fee, downloaded Revit, and I'm like, now what? Okay, so we're going to label these rooms, right? We need to do that. Now we could turn on the architect's room tags and they could show through, but a lot of times when they do that, they also show us the square footage, or they've got a box around them and you can't move them. So if the name shows up right here and you need to put a floor box, it's gonna make it really hard to see. So we're just going to go ahead and copy them. So first thing we're going to actually do is go to the annotate tab up here. No, you'd think you would annotate by tagging. It's not, it's analyze. We're going to analyze a space. The architect calls them rooms. And they do that because all they have to do with a room is assign the carpet type, paint type, and ceiling type. And that's the only information a room really carries. With MEP, Revit's so powerful that we use something called spaces, because it can use that volume to double check our lighting calculations, to double check our heating and cooling loads. I'm forgetting that those are the 2 main big ones, but rooms won't let you do that. Spaces will. So I'm going to go ahead and place our spaces in this model just by clicking space, and make sure tag is given, or it won't tag the space. So you can see it's trying to put a space in the space. Well, let's just make it easier on ourselves and hit place automatically. Did it. Close. So we're on the first floor, power, and now we've got all these spaces. Well, they're not called spaces. If you went and opened up the architect's model, you would see that this is called office, 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 you know, lobby, whatever. So this little thing, space naming, you click it, and it says it's going to suck in the room information from the architect and rename ours. Fine. Why I have to do this manually, I don't know. Click OK. Now everything is called the right thing. Okay. I want these same tags. So the spaces are a 3D thing. They're on the first floor. They really are there. Before I move on, so let me jump over here to the project browser. You see how we have 2 floor plans for power. You know, this is where your receptacles and your panels are going to be shown. But then they've given us 4 lighting plans, basically ceiling plans. These 2 are called floor plans. And, you know, there is a workflow for putting your lighting on a floor plan. That's usually if your whole background is an AutoCAD file, like the architect's not using Revit at all. It might be easier to use lighting as a floor plan, but if you're all in Revit, you're probably using Revit because the architect's using Revit. We're just going to delete those floor plan lightings, but we're going to leave the ceiling plans. All right, they're called ceiling electric. I mean, they're just lighting plans. We'll rename them here in a minute, but just wanted you to see that, what I was doing. So I want these tags to show up on my ceiling plan too. So I'm going to click just one of the tags, right click, select all, visible in view. So that just picked all these tags. Come up here. This is the copy to clipboard, totally different than the copy from here to there command. Copy, and then I'm going to paste to a selected view. So this will give me a pop-up screen of where to paste it. Well, these are coming from my first floor power. I want to put them on my first floor ceiling. So I just click OK. I'll show you what happened there. Let me just jump over. There, those tags are there, right? Okay. Something I want to show you. See how this plumbing chase is called space, and this little no-name closet is called space. Let's make a space. So you look over your schedules, right? Revit's supposed to do lots of stuff automatically for us. Look what they give us electrical guys to start with. Nothing at all. So let's go ahead and make a schedule. So we're going to go to view. We're going to click on schedules. It's a schedule, quantities, whatever. And I'm going to make a space schedule. So I go down in my options list of what I can make the schedule about, and it's just the spaces I just made. So, okay. I want to bring over the level. So is it first floor, second floor? And I want to bring over the name of the room, office, break room, and I want to bring over the number, 104, 103. So I want all of these over here so they show up in the schedule I'm creating. Before I create the schedule, I'm going to click on sorting. I want to sort it first by which floor it's on. I want that to be a heading, which floor. And then I'm going to sort by number because, 100 should be for 101. And I'm just going to click OK. There. And it just listed them. There they are. That way, if I want this, if I know this is office and I really want these to be separate, I can rename them here if I need to. All right. These spaces, these are the ones that we just looked at. So watch this, highlight in model. If you need to know where is this room, this number 8, we know where it is, it's in the bathroom, but I'm going to click highlight in model. And there it is, it shows me it's there. Now, if I click on this and I'm like, I don't need that space, so I'm going to delete it. It gives me this warning that says the space was deleted, but it's still there. It's basically saying you just deleted a tag. It's still there. So let's go back over here and actually get rid of this space. You click delete. You delete the row to delete the 3D thing in the space. We're going to kill that one. So it's gone. It's literally gone. If I jump back over to power, there's no, see these blue X's? Those show me that it's a space. This one's gone. Now this one over here, it is a space. The architect just didn't give it anything. So we're going to come over here and we're going to call this closet. And what room is it in? It's in 109. So we're just going to rename that number to 109B. It sorted it down here. And if we go back to our power plan, you can see that this closet is now called that. It also did it on the ceiling plan. See that? This is different than AutoCAD, right? In AutoCAD, if you change that on the power plan, it wouldn't have changed it on your lighting plan. But in Revit, that's the point, is that it revises instantly. That's where Revit came from. We got this schedule made, but when we were talking to the architect, they said there were 2 floors. I'm like, oh yeah. And then when we were looking at this, we're like, oh, there's level 2. So where are my level 2 spaces? Let's go through that same process real fast. So I'm going to open up the power plan level 2 over here, analyze space, make sure that's checked, place them automatically. It puts them all down. All right. They're all called space, which is just weird. So you got to manually click space naming. Now it's got level 2 here. It's going to copy those names over. There we go. And then I need these to show up on my level 2 ceiling plan. They're not tagged over here. So the easiest way to do that is right click, select all, visible. And then I'm going to click the copy to clipboard. and then paste, align to selected. And this is level 2, right? So we're going to go to ceiling level 2, click OK, and it pastes them kind of in the background, but there they are. Just pasted those in. It looks like space 109I is still in the model. I don't know why it's called that. Let's go look at our space schedule. There we go. What is this? Okay, so they had a chase called 109I on in there. So we're going to go ahead and kill that. So delete. And it's gone right there. Okay, so we're moving on, right? We got our rooms tagged, we got our plans, our LinkedIn thing, we got the architect LinkedIn. What other things do we need to do before we can even start modeling our project, right? I mean, here we are, it's been 26 minutes, and if I wasn't explaining this, maybe I'd be 10 minutes into the setup, but we got to keep going, right? There's nothing else set up here. So what is next? We made a schedule, deleted the spaces that weren't spaces. Oh, we need a roof plan because there's going to be mechanical equipment up there. We talked to mechanical and they said they're using rooftop units, not split systems. So we need to have a roof plan. So let's just make one real quick. View, plans. The roof plan is a floor plan technically. There it is. It's telling me the level that we made when we were doing our elevations is roof. There, it made a roof plan, right? And it even called it roof for us over here. Let's make a site plan while we're at it. Let's go back to the first floor. We can right click and duplicate. So we're just going to copy it. It didn't copy any of the tags or anything because it's a site plan. But if we wanted those tags copied, we would duplicate with detailing, but we don't. So here we are. This is going to be, let me rename that, right click, rename. Let's just call it site plan. Okay, here's our site plan. But we need our site plan, right? So we want to go to insert. So the civil, they never do anything in Revit. They always export it to CAD. We always get a CAD file for civil. So fine, link CAD, right? Never ever import CAD. It'll just clutter up your Revit model, cause errors. Link CAD, here it is. They sent it to us. I'm just linking to it. These settings down here are very important. Current view only, it'll only show up in our site plan. We want it black and white, not colored. We only want to see what they're showing us. Auto detect units because AutoCAD is inches and Revit works in feet. The positioning, if you'll remember, we did this for the Revit one, internal origin, but with AutoCAD, it doesn't care. I mean, there's a 0,0 point, but maybe they modeled next to that, maybe not. There's no direct correlation between where they modeled it in AutoCAD and in Revit. In Revit, there is. Revit model, you have the same site spot that you can coordinate to. But here, we're just going to do manual, and we're going to go with center. This one, I don't know what that does, but you just leave it. Open. So there it is. It's bringing this nice, clean site plan in, right? But how do I get it lined up? I mean, I could sit here and eyeball it, but I just can't. So I'm just going to click it. And there's this nice, up here in the modify, this wonderful tool called Align. And you don't use it much in AutoCAD, but in Revit, man, it is the bomb. So Align. And I'm just going to align the top of this wall with this wall. So first I'll click here, and then I'll click there, and you see it jumped up. It jumped everything up. And then I need to align this one with this. So click, click, and there. That sucker's lined up. Sorry, this one. This is lined up with my building now. All right, looks good. Okay. Before we do anything else, let's pin that in place so I don't accidentally move it and mess something up. Now, if I click and drag, it won't go anywhere on me because I pinned it in place. Okay, you know, I haven't saved in a while. I'm going to click save. Very good. Okay. Set up views is next. So we have these plans made over here in our project browser, but they're not going to show the right stuff that we need unless we do some configuring. So let us set some crop boxes, and you start those out just by creating what's called a scope box. We just want a scope box that's called overall building. So I'm going to drag this around the building, maybe 5 or 10 feet out, and click. And it just makes this region that over here, I'm going to give it a name, overall building. And it'll just make it easier for me to crop all of these plans to the right size. I also need a level 2. Level 2 is different. Let me jump over to the second power plan. So level 2, if you look at this, these things just go to ceiling stuff, but this is actually a level 2 closet. So I'm going to draw a scope box and start down here at the same place, more or less. And then I'm going to make sure I include that in my scope box for level 2, and I'm going to name it over here level 2. Okay. Now what I want to do is go ahead and assign my views to those. So first floor ceiling, first floor power, my roof plan. I'm control and then click, 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 selecting them all. And then I come over here to the properties, and scope box is an option. Well, I'm going to set them to that overall building. And then I'm going to click this annotation crop. I'll show you what that does. So let me jump over to this power plan. So it cropped it around here, right? If I click annotation crop, it gives me an extra space. That way, if I put a tag here and point to something, it'll show up. You just have to get used to that. It's something AutoCAD does not do. But anyway, just make sure annotation crop is selected for all of those. So I'm going to repick those and make sure it's selected there. Now for my level 2s, I'm going to click my level 2 ceiling, my level 2 power, come over here to scope box, and I'm going to pick level 2. And I'm going to make sure my annotation crop is picked. So let's go see what that did on the power plan level 2. There we go. So you see this dashed line, this scope box here. If I uncheck that, you'll see that these other tags showed up. That box shows where annotations are permitted on this view. Just helps with the cropping and lets you tag and text things outside of the crop. So now we've got our views cropped and they're in the right shape. Okay, let's see. What do we want to do? I want to save as I'm going because I don't want to lose my work here. And let's configure how the ceilings need to be set up. So I'm going to go to ceiling 1, and over here in the properties is what we need to work on. First thing I want to do is rename this. So I can right click and rename, or you can hit F2 on your keyboard. So I'm going to type lighting plan level 1, enter. Now it's called lighting plan level 1. You can also make that change over here in the properties palette under view name. Okay, now we need to match some settings. View range is, don't worry about it. It's confusing. It will take you a few projects to figure out view range. Don't worry about it. Just go with the settings and ignore it. Unlimited, view down, and we want our top to be level 2. So we're on lighting plan level 1. We want to be able to see all the way through the ground, and we want to not see anything above level 2's floor. The cut plane is kind of this 3D spot in between those two where you can see things above 4 feet, but nothing below 4 feet. That way you don't see furniture, but you do see your light switches. Quick explanation. This little thing, you can analyze it day in and day out, but it's not until you really practice with this. But for now, just match these settings for level 1 and you'll be okay. All right, that's the view range for the first floor. Okay, now we still need some more things to set up here to make sure it looks right. So I'm going to click on view template. And when I set this up, we'll be able to apply that template to the second floor lighting plan. So let's click in here. And there's already one called electrical ceiling, but it's not helpful. They just made it. So over here on the right, I'm going to uncheck view scale, because when I do an enlarged plan, I want to be able to assign this template to it without it changing the scale. I also want to uncheck the import. This is AutoCAD files and filters. I don't want it to mess with my filters. Again, I'm not fully explaining this. I'm just showing you how to do it so you know how to set it up yourself. If you do want to learn why exactly that is, you know, that's a good opportunity when you get ATG on the line for some custom one-on-one training that you can ask and find out exactly what those do. First, I need to jump into the overrides model. So the stuff that it shows me, I need to customize this. I mean, Revit. So Revit was programmed by programmers, not engineers, not MEP designers. So, you know, they had input from us, but basically they don't have any idea what we do. So I'll jump through here, and if this is a lighting plan, I'm going to turn off stuff I don't want to see and turn on stuff I do want to see. I want to see air terminals, but I don't want to see them black, so I'm going to set this halftone. They're going to show up as gray. I don't need areas, cable trays, casework. I don't need any of that stuff to show. I do need ceilings, columns would be helpful. I don't need communication, conduit. I don't need any of that stuff. I don't need data devices. Well, I'm going to leave detail items on. Doors we definitely need to see. All right, we want to see electrical equipment because it's lighting. It'd be nice to know where the panel boards are that things get circuited to. So we want to leave that on, but we don't need to see our receptacles. So I'm going to turn that off. Entourage, that's the term for like when an architect puts cars or people models in the plan. We don't need those. We don't need fire alarm devices. We don't even need floors, believe it or not. That would turn off any patterns. Turn off our furniture, HVAC zones. So I'm using the shift key to select more. That's just how it works in Windows. We want our lighting devices and stuff on, right? That would be really helpful. But we don't need mechanical equipment, MEP fab, nurse call. We don't need any of that stuff. And we don't need any of these either. So when you download the white paper, why I keep looking left is because I have a checklist that's showing me what to check and what not to check. But I did figure this out on my own. So let's see, we don't need security devices. What else? We do want our spaces to show. We want stairs. Structural, no, it's just lighting. So we'll just turn that off. We don't need telephone either. And we don't need wires. So that was annoying, but I only had to do it once because it's a template, right? I set my air terminals as halftone. Let's set grids to halftone too. So model categories, these are the objects you see. And then up here, annotation, we're going to come down to grids, and we want to make them gray too. They don't need to be black. They're important, but not that important, right? And then also the background for the architect's model, here it is. So I clicked Revit links. So first we were here, then I went there, skipped over all that, Revit links, and I want to turn it to halftone as well. I want the background even more gray than it is. And then I click OK. And it brings me back to this screen. And then I'll go ahead and click OK again to finish out. So those tabs I was clicking on, those are these things right here. So this is that tab. So when I click OK, it's going to set my template up. OK. And you can see how it changed. This went gray in the back. This went gray in the back. So the room names stayed dark. We could change those to light as well if we wanted. So if you want to edit your template, we'll go back in there. Annotation. Those are called space tags right here. We'll change them to gray. Okay. Okay. There. Faded them out, right? Nice. Now, when I need to put a light right there, I can move this out of the way. And if I'm really particular, I can actually turn a leader on and pull it out of the room. Just let it point in the room if I really need some space. All right. Let's assign that template to this other ceiling plan here, this one. You see how it doesn't, it's still black and this is black and everything. So let's first rename it here. So we're going to call it lighting plan level 2. Okay, see how I renamed it over here as well as down here. And my view template, I'm going to click and I'm going to change it to that ceiling one that we just set up. When I click OK, you'll see all this stuff go gray on me, right? Nice. So that's set up. Now we got to do the same thing for the floor plan. This is a good time to interject if you have questions. If you need help with this, if you need one-on-one support, or if you want your whole team to learn how to do this stuff, this is where you want to pick up the phone and call ATG and ask for a quote for how much it costs to sit down one-on-one with me or one of my peers who've been in industry and know how to help you with this. We got tired of deadlines, so we moved to training. That's why I'm here. So we can help you learn this sort of thing. So I know I'm moving fast, but you can download a white paper here whenever we release it. And you can also rewatch this webinar and see how I do things that way. So we got to configure our floor plans though. You know, when I was practicing this, it literally takes me 15 minutes to do everything I'm doing. But since I'm talking through it, it's taken an hour. So I'm over here at the floor plan, 1 power. We need to do the same sort of thing here. So I think I'm going to go ahead and rename it while I'm sitting here. So F2 on the keyboard, hitting F2, it's just the rename Windows button. So power plan level 1, go ahead and rename this one here. Power plan level 2. Okay, so but we're still on power plan level 1. All right. But let's set up our view template. That way we can apply it to this plan, and maybe the site plan if we want. So view template, I just click down here to start it. They've already given us one, but you still have to tweak it. So because of enlarged views later on that we'll create, I want to not mess with my scale. Filters, don't need to mess with that. The rest of this stuff is fine. So let's see about the settings here. So what objects do we want to see in the electrical model? Well, we don't need air terminals. We don't need whatever areas are. We do want to see cable trays. Casework is definitely helpful for not putting receptacles there. We don't need ceilings. Columns are good. Communication devices, conduit, curtain panels, systems, walls. I mean, those are walls. To us, they're like glass walls. Don't put anything on here unless it's a wire mold strip at the bottom. Data devices depends on if you do a separate data plan. A lot of times we just show a triangle because it's like that's all the electrician's doing is dropping a conduit with a box. We definitely need doors. This one you want to make sure that plan, swing, and panel are on. If you open it up like an architect's model, a lot of times they'll have this unchecked and you won't be able to see the doors because they're all closed effectively. We don't need any duct stuff. We need all of our electrical. Don't need entourage. Fire alarm devices. Again, that's your workflow, but I'll leave them on here. We don't need floors. Furniture is good. We want to see the furniture in our floor plan model. We don't need HVAC zones. We want to turn off our lighting. Don't need that here. See how that just shows you that Autodesk didn't really know what they were doing when they set this up. They left the lights on. Doesn't make sense. Nurse call, parking. I think this is when the architect literally draws a parking lot. They can put them on this level and turn them on and off. And planting. That's the weird thing for saying landscape. I don't know why they call it planting. We do need railings. We'd like to see ramps. We don't need roads. We don't need roofs. Shaft openings, sure. Let's leave those. Side objects, all the rest of this stuff. Structural, we really don't need to see any structural, so we'll just turn all those off. But we need wires, we need our windows and walls, and telephone devices, sure. So that's finally set up, right? Again, you only have to do it once. What we want, a couple other things, we want to make sure that mechanical equipment is turned on. We want to see, because we have to power our air handlers and stuff, right? But we want them to be grayed out. You know, we're going to stick a disconnect on the side of them, and that's what'll get powered. But when we bring in the mechanical, we want it to show up as gray on this screen. We also want our grids to be grayed out. So grids, I'm clicking on annotation categories, grids halftone. And then I'm jumping over to Revit and I'm making sure my architect's whole model is grayed out. This is the equivalent in AutoCAD to setting all layers to like number 8. That's basically all that's doing. Click OK. Okay, and you can see how it changed things. Power Plan 2, though, it still looks the same. So let's assign the view template. So over here in properties, I click view template, picking the one we just worked on, click OK. Go to my roof. It's funny, it's already assigned on the roof. I don't know why. And then, oh, see this? This is that second floor scope box. Let's go hide that. Let's go edit the view template. It's an annotation and it's called scope box. We'll just turn that off. We don't need to see that. There, a little cleaner. That's our roof, right? Okay. Let's go ahead and click save. We've done a lot, right? But we still can't start doing our electrical. Okay. We're almost to the end here. Configure our site plan view. Let's jump over to site plan. Okay, so this one, let's go ahead and assign it the view template of electrical plan and click OK. So you can see it turned all that stuff gray on us, right? But we need this gray too. So let's just turn this to none. It gave us, we set it to that template. It set everything up for us fine, but because the site plan's just, it's itself, doesn't really need a template, but it's a good place to start. So I'm turning it to none so I can go customize it. So I'm going to click visibility graphics. I mean, this, you recognize this. This was from within the template thing, right? But this is for the site plan, and it's already set it up to match that template that we had assigned. But what I want to do is come over to imported categories, and I want to turn my site plan gray also, right? So just click OK. There, now the site plan's grayed out. Very good. The giant word up. Well, that's another time. That's another problem we'll have to fix. The view range. So when you do the site plan, you know, you might have a transformer sitting out here by the road, and you'll need to draw that one conduit over to here to the electrical room and tag it. And you'll need to put, you know, the utility right-of-way note. Maybe it'll come from here up this way. So if you're doing it in 3D, you might draw a conduit at 2 feet below ground or something. So we need to edit our view range so that we can actually see underground. So let's just change all these to unlimited. We want to be able to look down as far as we want. We want to look up as far as we want. So just set all those on your site plan to unlimited and you'll be fine. All right. Let's go ahead and save. So the site plan's set up and ready to draft on. Actually, it's not really cropped, is it? So let's crop it. So over here in the properties, crop view. So it's going to crop it, but we need to be able to see our crop. So there it is. Let's just, instead of using a scope box, we're just straight up cropping it. So we're going to pull this down to there and to there. We don't need that whole road showing. We could just go to there. And then, you know, maybe this is their property line, but we're not dealing with anything beyond this, right? So there, we just cropped that down. Very good. We can turn on our annotation crop over here. It's always useful to have. Okay, let's link our mechanical model in before we go. So jump over to the roof plan, insert, link Revit. So they're doing their job in mechanical because they work down the hall and they're doing Revit too. And you go to your server, you find their model. Suppose they've already put some rooftop units in it. Here's auto internal origin to internal origin because they're using the same shared coordinate, basically. Open, there, you can see it came in and it's just showing their 3 rooftop units. All we need to do is pin it in place at this point. There, that way we can't accidentally grab it and move it. It won't move on me. Okay. Believe it or not, that is step 1. You are finally ready to do your electrical design. And Revit is completely not set up for you to do that. It has no idea what you need to do to this plan. You need to power that thing. How do you power that thing? I can't seem to click on it and click a power button up here. You got to put a disconnect on there and you got to power the disconnect and you got to put in, you got to come over to your power plan and you got to put in your electrical panels here in the electrical room. And then you need to show a panel schedule on a panel schedule sheet and you need to put receptacles everywhere. But the only receptacles Revit comes with out of the box is a receptacle and a GFCI receptacle. There's no above counter. There's no receptacles that have USB ports in them. I mean, this just comes with nothing. It's just so frustrating. So you go to the internet and you start Googling free Revit electrical families and you don't find anything, or you find something that's just overkill, too complicated. The best solution is to go to the ATG. You know, if you go to YouTube, this will be on YouTube under the ATG USA. You can find something called the MEPPP, so Mechanical, Electrical, Plumbing Productivity Pack. And this is a plug for something we sell, but I didn't know about it. So at my last firm, 3 years, BIM manager. Before that, BIM manager assistant. Before that, CAD manager. Got into Revit and found that there was nothing there. So it's like, okay, how to make a family, how to customize. So I was just Googling everything. There were other people that had been doing it for a few years. And so we had tools in place, but everything, we just had to generate everything on our own. Like you watched this, I still don't have sheets set up, right? I don't have my notes. I don't have anything. I just have the plans. I just spent an hour with you going quickly, showing you how to just make a 2-story building, just kind of get ready for modeling or drafting on it. And the productivity pack, they have an electrical specific one. They also have mechanical and plumbing, but the EPP, electrical productivity pack by CTC that we sell, is the dream come true. It's like what Revit should come with. And it's got levels set up and sheets set up, and it's got an architectural model already in that you can replace. It's got every receptacle type you'd ever want. It's got every motor type you'd want to power. It's got panel boards. It's got schedules. I mean, it's just unbelievable. You can go to our YouTube channel or our website and look up the MEPPP and find one of the old recordings of a demo, or just keep an eye out for this. And we do them regularly, show them off. But somebody's already done this for you. Of course, I know not everybody will buy it, but it pays itself off like that, you know. So contact ATG, get a salesman or your customer service rep, and ask them for a quote on that thing or a demo. You can schedule a demo with me, Nathan Hay, to show you the productivity pack one-on-one with an hour discovery call. Find out your needs to see if it's really something that would be useful to you. The next things we're going to talk about when I do another webinar, probably in a month or so, and there'll be a white paper on it, is designing the distribution system. So I'm going to walk you through out of the box with the stuff Revit doesn't come with. I'm going to show you how to get your power panels in there, how to put some receptacles in, how to put in some data drops, how to put in, how to circuit that stuff and get it to show up on a panel schedule and get it to do your load classification calculations correctly and give you a total amperage. So all that will be coming up next, because the idea is to get you from Revit out of the box to PDF construction documents that you can give back to the architect with his, you know, without having to buy the productivity pack. But that darn productivity pack, when I came here, it was like, what? My firms could have bought this and launched us 10 light years into the future for what Revit should be doing for us. So take a look at that. But this is money, what I'm showing you. This is stuff that I looked at on YouTube, and simply, you know, there's a lot of people doing demos like this, like Revit, how to get started, Revit electrical, Revit project setup. But I wanted to do this for us electrical designers. I wanted to go step by step, more of a how-to. I mean, I explained things as I went, but frankly, you just got to play with it and do it to figure out why it does what it doesn't. That annotation crop thing I was showing you, the first time you tag a light fixture and the tag is not there, you'll think, oh yeah, and you'll go click the annotation crop box and it'll do something, and then your tag will show up because it was off screen. Just all kinds of stuff. The view range, you know, when at a loss for how to make your view range work, open up the architect's model and that view and look at their view range settings and copy them. So, it's been 55 minutes. I raced through this again. When I did it, just practicing, I did all that I just did in 15 minutes. And, look at this. Now I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, I forgot to set my space names at halftone. So come down here to space tags and set them to half. So even me looking at my notes, I'm still missing stuff, but document what you're doing. And again, this will be a white paper and it will be the documentation for you. And this will get faster and faster for you, this setup stuff. Hopefully what you can do now is do this and save it, not as a template, just save it as a project and go ahead and call it a template. And then the next time you need to do this stuff, everything will be named right and the settings will be ready. And you can just keep it as a template. It's not a Revit template file. We don't even bother with those. It's just a project that you start fresh from every time. That way you're not copying the very last job you did with all of its typos and mistakes. You can have a fresh, clean copy. Eventually in here, you'll have all your details. Like if you need to show like your riser diagram, I'll show you that eventually, but it's basically drafting in Revit instead of AutoCAD. Revit just does not make a way for single line diagrams, but you'll get it and you'll get the box, just like in AutoCAD. You'll have blocks for your single line. You'll get them in Revit. They're called groups, but it'll be saved there and you can piece it together as you need, and it gets faster and faster, and you'll save that as a template project so that if you've got a typo in your general notes in this job, you don't copy that over to the next job. You go fix the typo in your template and then start fresh from there on your next project. You can contact ATG for a lot more things. Using that productivity pack, which is a content. It doesn't come with training. It comes with documentation, lots of videos, but it comes with everything you need in Revit to do electrical design. We also do Bluebeam. We can be a one-stop shop. If you need to renew your Autodesk licenses, you can get Bluebeam through us too and not have to do that separately. We have add-ins for Revit. See the CTC software. We got all these things that help you do things. And again, you can go to our YouTube channel and find demos on all of that. You just go to the App Store, Autodesk App Store, and you can download all of these CTC things, and you get some free ones with them that help you with some things. The project cleaner is especially nice because you can't purge half the stuff that you can purge in Revit. There's one that's free. You can download it. It helps you. Other things we could do at ATG is, say you want all of the font in your Revit to look like that hand-drawn script. We can show you how to change the font in your tags, your text, your schedules. It's a pain, but if you really like that, you can do that. Otherwise, it just defaults to Arial. We can customize your light fixture schedule. We can help you convert your AutoCAD details into native Revit format. We can help you figure out how to do single line diagrams, riser diagrams inside Revit. We even do modeling for you. So tons of things. So thank you for joining me today. We'll get this thing saved, published, wrapped up. It'll be on our website, YouTube channel, and then keep an eye out for the white paper called Revit Electrical Design Project Setup. So let me share this screen over here, my PowerPoint slide, and we'll close it out on that. Thank you for your time. Really appreciate everyone being here. Again, it's Nathan Hay. You can call your salesman, your customer service rep at ATG, and ask to speak with me directly if you like. Thanks so much.